Have you ever looked at factory carts and wondered why they even exist? Most pioneers ignore them completely. It is just a fun vehicle. But after the vehicle path changes in update 1.2, I started using them in a completely different way. Not as long distance transport, but as tiny internal delivery vehicles inside my factory. In this video I show you how I use factory carts to move low volume items, remove long messy conveyor belts, and make my factory feel much more alive. Imagine one small factory making heavy modular frames. Instead of running one long belt from storage to the manufacturer, you can let one cart bring a stack every few minutes. This is the basic idea. Before we look at the full factory, let me explain how the system actually works. A factory cart route needs two truck stations. One loading station and one unloading station. Then connect them with the factory cart path, and after that craft the factory cart, deploy it, and drive near the path to assign it to the route. So instead of building long conveyor belts, I can let the cart carry one stack at a time from production A to production B. I will give you a simple rule when to use factory carts. Use factory carts when the item is low volume or has a big stack size and the belt distance would be annoying or ugly. In the early game, this can work for things like smart plating, modular frames, motors, or any part that your factory only needs in small amounts. Don't use them for high volume items like ore, ingots, screws, or anything that needs hundreds or thousands per minute. Now let's scale it up to my late game factory. The in and output rates of these advanced parts are relatively low, making them perfect candidates for transportation with factory carts. Why? I will divide it into three groups: practical, building, and aesthetics. A factory cart can transport one full stack of items at a time. A turbo motor setup, for example, may only need a few radio control units or cooling systems per minute. That kind of ingredient is perfect for a factory cart. Let me show you another example with concrete numbers. Here I have two particle accelerators, which produce one nuclear pasta per minute. They need one pressure conversion cube and 200 units of copper powder per minute. Obviously the pressure conversion cubes are easy to deliver by a factory cart. It can transport one stack, meaning 50 pressure conversion cubes by a demand of 1 per minute, so no problem. Also the 200 units of copper powder are not a big deal. Factory cart throughput is simple. Stack size divided by round trip time multiplied by number of carts. One cart carrying 500 copper powder every 3 minutes gives about 167 per minute. Two carts double that to 333. So I have easily reached my demand of 200 units per minute. If you don't want to calculate, you can also check the incoming transfer rate of the truck station. Because of slight traffic, it's a little bit less than 333. And the best of all, factory carts don't require any fuel. This makes it a huge advantage compared to trucks, for which you need a whole fuel setup too. Let me jump to the next point: building. While I was setting up the cart network, I realized how satisfying it is. Clean, structured, and easy. The carts themselves need very little road space. They can fit through narrow passages, move around existing buildings, and follow clean routes through the factory. The main space cost is the truck station. So I designed those stations into the building from the beginning. In every other factory, I would need to think about how to set up conveyor belts. It is either a huge logistic effort, or you try to hide it in another secret floor that no one will ever understand again. I think everyone knows that feeling of setting all conveyor belts clean and perfect until you find out you forgot one item and you have to try to squeeze it in somehow. For factory carts it's very easy. If one cart is not enough, just add a second or third cart to your route. My third point is aesthetics. Unlike conveyor belts, factory carts create visible movement throughout the factory. They constantly travel through your factory, which makes it feel busy and active. So it will always look nice, while conveyor belts can get empty or completely full, without moving. Of course, professional pioneers can solve this conveyor belt problem, but speaking about the simplicity of factory carts, they look always nice without big effort. Also, since the carts follow fixed paths, I finally had a reason to decorate those paths using paint patterns and road markings, which I never knew when to use them. I also color code the factory carts to match the items they transport, making it easy to identify their routes at a glance. For example, the copper powder cart has a copper skin, while the radio control unit cart is yellow and red. When you combine all these advantages, they become perfect for creating a slightly unconventional factory design. Of course, factory carts are not perfect. Truck stations are quite large, each cart only carries one stack, and for high volume resources, belts, trains or trucks are still better. So factory carts are not a replacement for every logistics system. They are a clean solution for specific annoying items. Let me show you my factory for more inspiration. In my factory, I'm producing late game items such as nuclear pasta, thermal propulsion rockets and other advanced components. All of the needed materials arrive by train at the factory and the nitrogen by the new fluid truck, which I was very excited to test. In the factory, each item gets its own truck station and its own dedicated factory cart route. For beginners, I highly recommend to keep items always separated, because mixing them and sorting them later is most likely more work and usually leads to more problems. Anyway, after transporting all the goods to the manufacturers, factory carts of course also transport the new items back to the train station. Thus, I have to build another truck station which loads the goods. The only thing I miss is a station that can load and unload at the same time, which would make these systems even cleaner. Of course, trucks and trains still have their place. But for tiny internal deliveries, factory carts using no fuel are much easier. And if you still want to use trucks for bigger routes, I made another video about solving truck fuel lines which you can watch next. After building this factory, I honestly think factory carts are one of the most underrated logistic tools in Satisfactory. I would honestly be surprised if you couldn't find at least one item in your current factory that can be transported by a factory cart. Let me know in the comments.